Imagine a game so intense that players risked serious injury, all for the thrill of victory and the roar of the crowd. Welcome to the ancient world of Roman gladiatorial games, but with a twist you might not know. Gladiators weren't just brutal fighters locked in deadly combat. They were also celebrities, respected warriors with ritualistic roles, and sometimes, surprisingly, very skilled entertainers. Picture the Colosseum, Rome's grand amphitheater, packed with tens of thousands of spectators, the air thick with excitement, tension, and anticipation. The crowd's cheers and gasps echoed through the stone tiers as gladiators prepared to face off in battles that were as much about spectacle as survival. Gladiators were often slaves, prisoners of war, or condemned criminals, but some volunteered for the glory and fame that came with the title. They were trained in special schools called ludi, where they mastered different fighting styles and weapons. From the heavily armored Myrmillo, who carried a large rectangular shield and a gladius sword, to the nimble retiarius, who fought with a net and trident, each gladiator had a unique role and fighting technique. Their training was rigorous and disciplined, focusing not only on physical strength and combat skills, but also on endurance, agility, and strategy. These fighters were true athletes of their time, conditioned to entertain and survive in the brutal arena. But these games were more than just violent battles. They were a complex blend of sport, theater, and political spectacle. Emperors and politicians used gladiator games to display their power, curry favor with the public, and distract citizens from everyday problems. The games were often held to honor the dead or celebrate military victories, turning the arena into a stage where politics and entertainment intertwined seamlessly. The rituals surrounding the events, from the procession of gladiators entering the arena to the final decisions made by the editor, the official in charge, added a layer of solemnity and tradition to the otherwise brutal contests. Crowd reactions held immense power in the arena. The gestures of the audience could literally mean life or death for a gladiator. The famous thumbs up or thumbs down signals were not just myths from Hollywood, but gestures that influenced the editor's decisions. A thumbs up might mean sparing a defeated gladiator's life, while a thumbs down could signal death. However, these signals and their meanings could vary depending on the time and place. The crowd's mood was a vital element, and gladiators often sought to win their favor, not only through combat prowess, but also through charisma and showmanship. Here's a surprising fact. Not all gladiators fought to the death. Contrary to popular belief, many matches ended before fatal blows were exchanged. Gladiators were valuable assets to their trainers and sponsors. Losing one in battle was a significant financial loss. As a result, fights could be carefully managed, with referees stepping in to halt combat when appropriate. Gladiators often formed bonds with their trainers and fellow fighters, understanding that survival was key to continuing their careers and earning their freedom. Beyond the fights, gladiators enjoyed a level of fame that might remind you of modern-day sports stars. They had fan followings, endorsements, and sometimes even their own merchandise, such as oil lamps, figurines, and graffiti depicting their likeness. Some gladiators became household names, celebrated for their courage, skill, and style. Their victories were chronicled in poems and stories, elevating them to almost mythic status in Roman society. This celebrity status challenged the idea that ancient entertainment was purely barbaric. It was also deeply cultural, ritualistic, and layered with social significance. The life of a gladiator was harsh, but for some, it offered a path to glory, wealth, and even freedom. Successful gladiators could earn prize money, gifts from admirers, and sometimes be granted manumission, the legal process of being freed from slavery. Their stories, filled with bravery and struggle, echoed throughout the empire, inspiring awe and admiration. The gladiatorial games also reflected the complexities of Roman values: honor, bravery, discipline, and spectacle. They revealed the Romans' fascination with death and the afterlife, the interplay between fate and free will, and the power of public display. The arena was a microcosm of Roman society itself, where politics, violence, religion, and entertainment collided. So next time you think about ancient games, remember, it wasn't just blood and gore, but a fascinating mix of sport, politics, and showmanship. The gladiators were more than mere fighters. They were symbols of a civilization's ideals and contradictions, living embodiments of courage and spectacle.